Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us here. Certainly, this is a topic that I think is of a lot of interest. We're seeing it more when we have client reviews and just clients reaching out to us. The number of scams, that we're seeing are getting more sophisticated, more prevalent. So hopefully, we're gonna go through this presentation, and then we're gonna also follow up with kind of a scam mitigation guide. That's just something you can keep by your computer, read once and just have like numbers and things handy where if this does happen to you, it's something that can kind of ground you in the heat of the moment. So definitely share this with spouse if they're not attending this webinar, and maybe even one of your kids. I think the scams are predominantly happening to people who are, seniors, 60 and older, but it's happening to everyone. We've seen it personally, people trying, we see it with emails. So, and it likely is only going to get more advanced as AI gets in the hands of bad actors and the scams get more sophisticated. So we'll have to continue to educate ourselves and stay vigilant. The most important thing I think is staying vigilant and having trusted people in your life who can support you and help you. So, in 2024, $12.5 billion were lost, as reported to the authorities, which is significantly more than any other year previously, and it continues to go up every year. And with AI, it's kind of multiplying the number of scams that are able to occur, right? So what they're doing is they're leveraging artificial intelligence to, right, impersonate not just across one avenue, but many avenues all at the same time. It can be more precise, and obviously the financial repercussions are significant. So how do they do it? So one is obviously the technology, right? If they're using AI, they can get a recording, right, of something online, social media. They can get your voice, how you speak, so they can clone your voice. They can clone, videos of you. And so, if there is some sort of a voice message, right, they can effectively communicate to someone as if it's you, right? So they kind of make it sound and look like you're actually asking for this money or communicating in a way that's totally made up. And then secondly, there's a lot of different financial exploitation that occurs. There's crypto scams that are famously called pig butchering, fake investments, fake IRS sites, posing as tax preparers. So basically, things where people are afraid that they're going to get wrong their taxes, things like that, or preying on people's desire to make money, fake, setting up fake crypto sites and creating essentially fictitious profits to get you to invest more money. And then lastly, there's the psychological manipulation, pretending to be someone who you're romantically involved with online, or pretending to be a grandchild to get their grandparent to give them money, or pretending to be a recruiter, right? It really is just weaponizing, humans' trusting nature, and isolating you in a way that makes you feel like you don't have any choice but to do this. So I would not underestimate the sophistication of these scams. They're getting really sophisticated where it can sound like you're talking to a legitimate person, a legitimate entity. But there's a couple things we're gonna look at to kind of help you pause in the moment. Because sometimes, right, the whole thing with the scam is you don't realize you're getting scammed necessarily. Okay, so here's kind of the first thing, and this is all kind of AI deception. when they have cloned your voice, right? So what will generally happen is there'll be some sort of unexpected, out of the blue kind of call or message from a loved one who's saying they're in trouble, in jail, and they need payment and they need it fast and they need it to be secret. So it's got to be a wire, it's got to be cryptocurrency, it's got to be a gift card, something that can't be traced, right? That is almost, textbook setup for some sort of a scam. And one of the things you can do, and that every family should have, or at least know to ask in that moment, is have some sort of a private, right, family trivia, family code word, a nickname of a family member growing up that there's no way that the scammer is going to know. Okay, so that's, I think, the first thing you can do. And then the other thing is people forget that you can always hang up the phone, just hang up the phone and call your loved one back directly, because these scammers can spoof the caller ID to make it look like it's coming from a loved one's number when in fact it's not. Okay, so hanging up the phone and calling back on the verified number that you independently verify is one of the best things you can do to kind of, just cut this off before it goes too far. Video deepfakes, more involved, right? They're literally taking a video of someone so it looks like them, and they're then promoting that in a way to create a fraud. And I think with AI videos or deepfakes, they're called, what you want to try to look for is jerky movements. It's something that there will be something in that video that isn't realistic, whether it's the lighting, strange movements, too much blinking or no blinking, something that's choppy about it. It will look fake if you're looking closely. Okay. So AI is creating this illusion, and it's almost always going to be paired with some sort of an urgency. And so these are some things you can do in terms of what to look for in the video, questions to ask, that the scammer is not going to know. And, just again, hanging up, disconnecting and contacting the person directly, or a loved one of that person directly to say, hey, what's going on with Johnny? I just got this panicked call. Oh no, Johnny's in school, or I'm here with Johnny now. Okay, then it was a scam. Okay, so this is a pretty big scam that's running. It's called pig butchering. It's kind of not a very pleasant name, but that's what it's called, and it's a crypto fraud, and it's multi-layered. The first is kind of what they call the lure, right? So it's a fake profile on a dating app, a wrong number, kind of text, basically someone reaching out to see, is there a person on the other line, and then trying to create some sort of rapport or trust. Okay, so the idea initially is there's no scam. They're just trying to kind of create a connection point, start a relationship, and slowly build trust. Then gradually what they will do is they will move the conversation to an encrypted app. Okay, some application where you can message each other and it's encrypted, so nobody else can read it and it can't be traced. And then they will come on and mention, right, that there's this site or there's this expert who has a cryptocurrency strategy that's making a lot of money. And they'll generally say, look, don't invest a lot, just invest a little. So the victim invests a small amount on this fake controlled platform that when they log in, they see profits, right? Because it's all fake. And they even are sophisticated enough where if you go, oh, I'm going to withdraw some money from this, right? They allow you to withdraw as long as it's small amounts of money. They'll let you do it to build the confidence and then ask for more money. And then ultimately, when you learn you were scammed is when you try to actually withdraw a large sum of money, right? You're hit with big demands like, hey, if you're going to take this money out, you got to pay very large fees, very large taxes. And then even after they pay that, when they go to get the money, it's gone. Okay. This has been extremely prevalent because, right, people everyone wants to make money and they think, oh, I can make money easily through this. My friend did this through this crypto investment, but this is the path, right? So this is how they do it. They establish rapport. They take their time. They move things off to an encrypted channel, make a small pitch. Hey, you may want to do this. Made a little money. Really worked out for me. I mean, it's going to be compelling. And then they'll even have a fabricated site to show you're making money. And then you realize all the money, right? There is no money. It's all gone. I think this is one of the lead causes of loss that have been reported is the crypto scam, pig butchering. Okay, so right, we're all humans, and criminals take advantage of that. So there's a couple different kind of types of scams, but one is a romance scam, right? Finding someone who's widowed or single, maybe lonely, and they get onto these sites and they kind of profess their love to them early on. They establish rapport. The people really like them, and every time it's, hey, well, let's get on a video so we can actually meet each other, and see each other. They're too busy to do a meeting. They're never going to get on a video, or if they get on a video, it's not going to work, and you're not going to see them. But then all of a sudden, once they earn your trust, hey, I had this emergency, my car broke down, right? I need money for this. I just lost my job. I can't wait to see you finally. Can you send me, right? So there's going to be some demand for cash. Another one is the grandparent scam, right? And normally it's a grandchild, is calling or texting you saying, hey, I'm in trouble. I went on spring break. I went out with some friends. I'm at college. I don't have access to something. I really need money, right? So it's all fake. It's all an impersonation. They need money, they need it quickly, and they need it in a way that can't be tracked. And that's a very common fraud. And then another one is these job and hustle scams, right? So like fake gigs, fake recruiters who set up sites to say, hey, you're going to pay an upfront fee. I'm going to find you a job. I'm going to find you, a side hustle that you can make money. And I mean, you can see here, this went from 90 million of losses to 500 million recently. So this is definitely a way, with all the different online job sites, that these scammers are using that as a vector to get to people and to extort money out of them. So these are called the IRS called these the 2026 dirty dozen. So these are all kind of IRS tax related fraud that has occurred, right? Sometimes, and this, we've all probably got this, an email, or that's phishing is a kind of a fake email, and smishing is a fake text message. So you might get a fake IRS text or email with malicious QR codes. The IRS will never contact you that way. They will always send a letter. So if you get anything from the IRS, or a text or an email claiming to be the IRS, it's not real. It's fake. Phone scams, right? They can spoof a caller ID, so it looks like you're getting a call from someone you know and trust, when in fact it's a scam. Fake charities, social media, people pretending to save you money on your tax return, and then they never going to sign the tax return, and they either take the refund or they collect an upfront fee and disappear. Right. So there's all these scams that are out there to make it sound like, oh, you can pay less or get more money back or get some sort of a credit or bonus by doing this. So I would just be very wary of anything you find online. And of course, you can always check with us, or if you have a CPA, to say, hey, does this sound legitimate? That's what we're here for, and we want to help. But just be very wary with these claims of, hey, we can save you money or get you money back or get you a big credit. And again, any email, text that comes through that doesn't look right, just don't click on it. If you do happen to answer the phone call. You can always hang up and call the number back directly of whatever entity they're claiming to be from. So, right, remember, this is all kind of the red zone, right? Untraceable, irreversible. So gift cards, wire transfer, payment apps like Venmo, Zelle to strangers, like once you send that money, it's gone. Okay. So this is all irreversible, and this is the only thing a scammer is going to use, right? Whereas here, this can be traced, it can be verified, it can be reversed, right? Credit cards, standard verified banking portals like ACH, Bill Pay, that's all fine. But if you're ever getting something that's of time urgency and it's got to be through this, it's almost always going to be a scam, right? So just try to remember that. So this is, let's say, this is basically saying guaranteed fraud. So it's a sudden urgency, and it's like no one can know about it. Don't tell anyone. It's some authority or familiar impersonation, family member, government entity, and it's got to be paid through some mechanism that's not traceable, right? Crypto, gift cards. If it's all three of these, it's 100% of the time it's a fraud. There are no exceptions. Okay, like that's a fraud. So, right, if you think about it, when you have a password and that's all you have to get into your site, you can think of that kind of like a padlock, right? That can be broken. If you have a password which when you put in then sends something to your email or to an app on your phone or even a text message or a call, that's called multi-factor authentication, and it makes your system kind of go from saying it's a padlock to more of a vault. And I'm not saying that it's foolproof, but it's a lot better, right? Because now with AI, they can randomly run thousands of different passwords, probably even before AI, and eventually they're going to get your password. And then they're in. Whereas if they get that, if then there's something that goes to you. So we have been talking to clients about the importance of 2FA, just means two or double factor authentication. It's also called MFA, multi-factor authentication. So it should be on pretty much every site you have that has sensitive information should have multi-factor authentication. And it should also have a decently strong password, right? If your password is basically anything basic that you remember, it's probably already been hacked. Meaning like that password is known and they've used it to get into a lot of people's accounts. It's just a matter of time. So you can easily add multi-factor authentication to that. And you can also periodically just change your password, right? You can change your password. There's things called password managers out there where as long as you remember the password to that manager, you can then save all of your passwords in that password manager. And then obviously, if you can have some sort of a biometric where it's facial recognition or fingerprint, that's the strongest, multi-factor authentication you can have. So, hopefully this is helpful, even if it's just changing your passwords to something stronger and putting multi-factor authentication on, bank accounts, email, investment accounts, those types of big things. I think that would go a long way. And again, feel free. I know we have a fair number of people in here. If you have a question, you can just pop it into the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. And I'm happy to help, happy to address the question. If we don't know the answer, we will find it and we can get back to you. So, right, this is a big one, the wires, right, where people, right, because a wire is untraceable. You've heard about wire fraud with home settlements. So you never want to use the phone number provided in an email with wire instructions. Always call whoever is going to be getting the money to directly verify that using a known trusted number that and to call them and verify that this is the right instructions. Because a lot of times what the scammers will do is they'll send a last minute email changing the wiring instructions, right? That is highly, highly suspicious. So that should be a red flag. Your antenna should go up to say something's not right here. And again, if you ever feel pressure to send money quickly, escalate the request to a supervisor or manager for authorizing the transfer. Okay. So we'll call this the wire transfer checklist. Just again, different ways to protect yourself from, kind of putting things in between you and the scammers to better protect yourself. So one is you as the target. I think it's really important to have some sort of family code word or just family trivia that everyone knows, but a scammer wouldn't know, right? And then have a trusted contact. That's an assigned family member that is on, like we ask for that for all of you, right? It's someone that we can call if we get the sense something is odd. You're asked for an unusual withdrawal. We have a meeting with you and something seems off. It's someone we can call that we can't take instructions from on your money, but we can at least call to check on you to say, hey, is everything okay? Is there something we need to know here? Because it's someone that a financial institution can contact during, if these emergencies happen. And then bank monitoring, right? So you can utilize your bank and credit union alerts to flag unusual large withdrawals, right? Erratic account behavior. If it's a withdrawal above this amount, I get notified. So I think these are things you can do proactively to help prevent, being the victim of a scam. And I think the reality is with the number of scams out there, the number of bad actors, and with AI, it is only a matter of time before you are at least an attempted victim. I'm just the number of clients we have, family we've talked to that have dealt with this, and most of them have gotten out of it and caught it early. But it's so prevalent now that I think you have to assume this could happen to you. So another thing, right, is there's always this feeling when you're in this that it needs to happen. They create this sense of urgency where you feel like if I don't do this now, like there's going to be a much bigger problem, right? So you receive some unexpected urgent request for money or personal data, right? So the first thing you want to do is you just stop all interaction. Unplug the computer, you hang up the phone, you do not click any links, you do not answer any questions. And then you go and verify independently the number for Microsoft or the IRS or the bank or whoever they're claiming to be from, okay? And if you are stuck on the phone, you can say, hey, what was the name of our, this dog growing up? I just want to make sure, this is real and you're actually someone I know, right? Type of thing. And they can't, they can try to fake that. I remember a client telling me a story where they got pretty far into the scam and the person finally asked, what was the name of our childhood cat? And all of a sudden the scammer paused. There was nothing. And they must have been Googling most common names of cats. And I forget what the name was, Mittens or something like that. It was wrong. And so they knew at that point, but they even tried to kind of fake what they thought the name might be. And then you, of course, calling us, a trusted friend, contact, family member before moving from. But this creation of urgency is their best weapon. That's what they use to exploit you. Okay. So let's say you do actually get compromised, right? The first thing you want to do, and this would basically be, let's say you click on a link and that link allows them to essentially remote into your computer. This is something we've heard. And now the bad actor is literally on your computer, as if it's you. What you want to do in that setting is you want to literally turn off and unplug the computer, okay? You want to block the scammer across all platforms. So if they contacted you by email, by phone, whatever it is, you block them. And then you need to contact your financial institutions immediately to let them know. You probably need to go to the credit bureaus and freeze your credit. You want to change all passwords. I mean, it's a huge pain. And then you need to report it, right? So the FBI's cyber unit, ic3.gov, and you can also go to ftc.gov, report the fraud, put on fraud alerts, and then going forward, right, set up creditor monitoring, request an IRS identity protection PIN, which gives you an extra layer of protection with the IRS. And watch for secondary recovery scams. So hopefully it doesn't get here, but if it does, these are the actions you need to take to mitigate the damage. Here are 3 kind of sites that are helpful to go to, both from a prevention standpoint and from a reporting standpoint, but irs.gov/ID theft. I think this is a really good one, the ftc.gov, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and then the FBI, this is the one I just mentioned, Internet Crime Complaint Center. So, I mean, if it does happen to you, filing the complaint is helpful, right? Because at least then these entities know this is a scam that's out there. It's counted, right? And the more it's reported, the more that I think that they can do to assist the public. The most important thing, right, is being vigilant. Right? Being aware is the ultimate protection. And then sharing whatever has happened to you, I think just helps everybody. But they have a lot of good resources on these sites. And then we are also going to send you kind of a mitigation template that has numbers on it, has kind of just steps, reminders. Say, hey, here's what to do. You can keep it by your computer. Because what happens is, a good example is this. I had a family member who was playing a game on their iPad, and the hacker came in through the game, and basically it showed as a Mac, an Apple or Microsoft notice that the device had a virus and they needed to call this number, right? So you got urgency, unexpected. And the screen, what they do is the screen is flashing, right? So the screen's flashing, they can't play their game, like, oh my God, like what's going on here? So they call the number and they get a legitimate person, and it sounds like a legitimate entity and representative of Microsoft. So I think it can be easy in the moment to forget what might be happening, that this is in fact a scam. So I think your antenna should really always be up, and having some sort of a template or a document near your computer or readily available would be helpful, and just to read through it. So we will send that to you as a follow-up to this. Are there any questions? I know this is something that isn't material we normally cover, but we do think it's very much falls within the realm of what a service that we need to address. And we have been including on all agendas, the importance of being aware of scams. So hopefully this gives you some things that you can do, action steps you can take immediately. I can try to pull up, if you all have a couple more minutes, that document. So I'm going to stop my share here for a second. But if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in to the Q&A. Okay, here we go. So this is what we're going to go ahead and send to you. Let me know if you can see this. This just talks about how much fraud is happening. So the golden rules, stop, verify, and talk. They stop, verify, and talk. Scammers rely on isolation and urgency. So these 3 steps break both. And then here's kind of the different scam types. So you can kind of be on the lookout. Email phishing, tech support, that was the one I just talked about. Romance scams, grandparent scams, phone impersonation, investment fraud, Medicare insurance scams, sweepstake lottery scams. If you are contacted, right, we talked about don't engage, hang up the phone, close the email, shut down the pop-up. Do not call any number provided in the message, verify independently, and then talk to someone you trust. Document everything and report it. If you already have sent money or share information, you need to follow these steps, which we talked about. Okay. So right here, best offense is a good defense, or a best defense. Right, you want to have a strongest possible defense so they can't even get to you. So right, you keep your operating system, browser, antivirus up to date. Enable automatic updates when possible. Keeping your password strong, unique for each account. Consider a password manager. Making sure you have 2-factor authentication on all accounts with personal information. Being cautious on social media about overly sharing anything really personal, addresses, birthdays, travel plans, shred paper documents, right, with any information before discarding them. Review bank and credit card statements monthly. Consider enrolling free credit monitoring. Register at donotcall.gov to reduce unsolicited calls. And then this is just something, kind of your personal commitment, that I think it's a good thing to read through, right? I'm never going to give personal information. I will verify identity of anyone requesting information. I'm not going to ever send money this way if I haven't met the person, or if you buy a gift card, that's different. So it's hopefully short enough to be practical. And then here's just our information. Here's the key contacts. You can call or go to the site. So we will send this to you as well. All right, looks like there's a couple. Okay, so yes, we will get you the briefing, and we will get you this the mitigation guide. We can send that out after. LifeLock, so they have a decent reputation for credit, kind of monitoring things. Nothing is foolproof. But I think having, something like that, and especially if, I would say that becomes important if there has been a breach of it, not to say your information specifically, but it's like, hey, this institution, which is feels like all of them now, had some breach and sensitive information was stolen, and yet get sent to you. Then I think looking into, a lot of times they'll pay for the first year or two for a service like that. What is a security key and how do you set one up? I think what they're talking about there is maybe like a password manager. So like 1Password is an example. 1Password is an example of something where you can go in, you create a password for that, and then you have all of your passwords stored, okay, on that one site. And that site might have 2-factor authentication to get in. It's a very complex password to get into that site, but it's all encrypted. And if you lose that password, you've lost all of your passwords. So that is advisable. Like any IT person generally says that's a good thing to do. With laptops, remember that they have, good point. So if you have a laptop, it's not enough to unplug. So you need to shut it. You probably need to shut it off, unplug it, and for safety, maybe just remove the batteries. That's a great point. Thank you for that. And I answered the last one. So if you have follow-up questions for us, you can always shoot over an email. If you have other questions that spurred because of those questions, let me know. All right, maybe we got one more here. Yes, correct. So you can lock your credit, you can freeze your credit now on all 3 major sites and unlock it when you need access. So this is something that I do think is worth doing. You just need to make sure that when you freeze your credit, what that means is if a scammer went and tried to take out any sort of loan in your name, purchase under your name, any large purchase, they're generally going to check your credit. They won't be able to. But when you go and get a carload or a mortgage or a HELOC or anything like that, you will need to unfreeze it for them to go and look at your credit report. And so just make sure you keep that information in a safe place, because it's not something you're logging into regularly, and you need to know right when you need to know what that password is to unlock it. But that's absolutely right. Not everyone wants to freeze their credit, but it is a good precautionary thing to do. It's easy to unfreeze, the client says. So, anything else? All right. Well, thank you all. We will continue to do our part here. Communication is your friend with, trusted professionals in the finance world. So we appreciate your trust, and we will continue to guard things. Thank you for your attendance, your questions, your engagement. As always, it's appreciated. We will follow up with the presentation and the scam mitigation guide for your reference. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.